From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTimeAngles. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We got some good stuff to talk about. And up first, it is going to be the state of the Lakers. DeAngelo Russell most likely to be resigned. Is this the right move? Well, I would say that it is the right move because DeAngelo Russell is a guy that the Lakers felt like they were going to have a future with. They thought that he would be one of their guys over the next decade or so that would help the Lakers get back to prominence. Because when he was drafted by the Lakers were one of the worst teams in the NBA. Let's keep it real. They were really bad. Kobe Bryant was in the tail end of his career at that point in time. They had just got Julius Randle, and Julius Randle had a significant knee injury the season before that kept him out the whole year. So you brought in DeAngelo Russell with the idea that, you get the point guard, playmaker, scorer type situation, and he was really pretty much set up to be the next big star for the Lakers. Let's keep it real. And then the Lakers had another bad season and were able to get Brandon Ingram. It seemed like they had a pretty good thing going on with those three right there in the beginning. You know what I mean? And, those three were a very core group of guys that kind of got everything started with getting AD, and you got Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball was in Kyle Kuzma in that same round as well, too. And you got Hart as well, too, because the Lakers had 3 first-round picks that year. And you got Caruso off the waiver wire, and it seemed like you had yourself a great little mix. And then what happened? DeAngelo had to go. He was traded for Brook Lopez, and that seemed like a very significant deal because what happened was that the Lakers were able to get that first-round pick because they were able to get rid of DeAngelo Russell. And DeAngelo Russell yielded a first-round pick, and he yielded a multiple all-star center who was considered the best player on the Nets when he came over to the Lakers. So, DeAngelo then goes off and actually plays for 3 more teams. And it's not because he was a bad player. It's because he became a good, valuable asset that was a person that you didn't see a long-term future with. So, he goes to New Jersey, and then what happens is that KD becomes available. So he becomes the odd man out, and he's moved to Golden State because the contract that he had a monster contract. And then he's in Golden State, and he's pretty much used there as a stopgap player because they were in a rebuilding year and they knew that they were going to have a bad season. What they did was they traded him for Andrew Wiggins. So it's not like you're trading DeAngelo for just whomever. You were trading him for the best players on these teams. And then the last trade that brought him to the Lakers was a disgruntled Westbrook, in a sense, because he was a part of a 3-team. It was a multiple team deal where he was brought in pretty much as the key piece that was able to get Russell Westbrook to the Jazz, who were able to alleviate themselves from him fairly shortly after that. So one of the biggest contracts in NBA history had finally ended somewhat. It had to end on a buyout. But, DeAngelo, all in all, has played great basketball over the years. He averaged 17.3. Yeah, he was getting about 5.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists a game. And then he kind of took a little bit of a backseat in the conference finals. But I felt like The big performance that he had against the Warriors where he scored 31 points, that was huge in winning that series. What he did against Memphis, that was huge in winning that series. And when DeAngelo was on, the Lakers were pretty much unbeatable as well, too. So you don't need to go trying to find some great commodity, some great player, something of that nature. You just need to stick with what got you to the playoffs. If the Lakers would have had that team for the whole season, they would have been the 2 seed. I promise you that team, the Lakers would have been the 2 seed. It would have been any issues with the Lakers getting to the 2 seed, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because they had the right type of mix. And I think that you have to look at DeAngelo Russell as a player for AD, not a player for LeBron. He's a guy that gets AD more involved and gets AD what he needs at the end of the day. And I think that you don't need to touch a thing because you have Austin Reeves, who's in the process of possibly getting overpaid. And I don't want the Lakers to overpay for Austin Reeves. I like Austin Reeves. He's a great guy. But Austin Reeves is a very good role player. He is not a guy that should be yielding any type of star money at all. He's a really good role player that does his job very well and loves the game of basketball. That doesn't mean that you need to be like the 4th highest paid player on the team because the Lakers didn't even draft you. Literally, they gave you an opportunity to be in the NBA on their summer league team. So the right thing to do is to go ahead and whatever the Lakers are offering, you just need to go ahead and take it. That's how I feel with him. Rue, on the other hand, I feel like that's a guy that's possibly going to stick around because he knows this is the best location for his brand. If he leaves the Lakers, he becomes an irrelevant player again. And he doesn't want that to happen because I know next time around when it comes to contract talks and things like that, he'll probably be commanding a higher contract if he sticks around with the Lakers for a quick 2 seasons or so and really gets his game to the point to where he's averaging 15, 16 a night. So, you know, there's a lot of great options for the Lakers right now. And another option that's getting brewed up right now is Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown could possibly be a Laker by Monday or by the end of next week. Because the thing is, the Lakers have enough money to pay him and Denver doesn't. And the Lakers are very adamant about possibly bringing him onto the roster. And I mentioned about 2 weeks ago that the Lakers needed to if it was possible, the Lakers should sign Bruce Brown because Bruce Brown was the X factor for the Denver Nuggets. I thought it was going to be KCP, but KCP was a good emotional veteran leader for them. But when it came to the guy that kept things going and was always consistent and was forever fearless throughout the playoffs, who really put them over the top and really gave them the confidence that they needed was Bruce Brown. And Bruce Brown is a guy that will be absolutely a gem for the Lakers. And I think that they need to really explore that situation. Now, what they do is they're pretty much saying that if they, offer him a contract, that they're looking at trying to win an NBA championship next season, but they want to take away a guy who's the difference in this team being a really tough, good team to them just being who they were before. And that's exactly how I'm seeing it as well, too. So the Lakers got a lot of options. They got a lot of good things going on. There's a lot of positive steps, and they got a lot of players that are very capable of helping this team get back to the NBA Finals next season. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move forward to our next topic, and that's going to be in college football. Let's go ahead. Can the U become the U again? Will the Canes ever be an elite college football program again? Well, I will say this. Going into the season, I wouldn't expect that they have a lot of expectations, but to me, they should. And I feel like when it comes down to a team like Miami, they're so hell-bent on what they used to be. You know what I mean? And I feel like that really doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter what you did 25 years ago. It doesn't matter what you did 40 years ago. It doesn't matter what you did 30 years ago. It's about what you do right now in college football. college football has become a big parody sport. You have teams now like Central Florida, the little Orlando school, who have played in multiple NYE games. That's New Year's Eve bowl games over the last decade. Miami has played in 0. Or maybe they might have played in one a few years back when they showed some life of being a good team back in 2017. But that was a short-lived situation, and Miami has had some very embarrassing losses over the years as well too. It doesn't even make sense that they still think that they're a superior situation. You literally, the guys who are alumni of the U have been directing their players away from Miami University. And that's, to me, the biggest heartbreak of it all, because those are talented players that would have helped this team be back where they needed to be. But the U just did not do the right thing by their alumni over the years, because they had such a black eye towards a lot of their upper echelon players. A lot of their legendary players are some of the most combustible personalities that ever stepped on a football field. So there's a lot of backlash with that. So they don't show as much love to the alumni as they should. And I think that's the biggest problem, because you have to show love to the guys that really built the program up. But I feel like this program was a time and a day, just like USC. USC had a lot of really good players coming out of the state of California, and a lot of players from the West Coast in general as well too. And Pete Carroll did a great job of recruiting the right guys to come to his school. He knew exactly who to go get and bring to USC. And I would say the same thing worked for Jimmy Johnson, Coach Schellenberg as well too, Dennis Erickson. And I think that all those coaches, Larry Coker, they all were able to recruit very well. Butch Davis, they were all able to recruit tremendously. But after a while, players start to say, you know what? It's getting a little rough over here in the city I live in, and I don't want to be so close to home. So I might need to go out here to California. But I feel like they were able to get the best of their state. They won their state first. And then they were able to start getting the best of the best from Georgia, the best of the best from Alabama, the best of the best from all around the neighboring states. And then they were able to bring in great guys from California, guys from Texas, guys from the Midwest. So they were bringing in the creme de la creme of football when it came to Miami, because they had great weather and they had nothing but great competition. So once Miami started becoming more of an NFL factory, a lot of people stopped caring about actually winning on the football field. It's all about trying to get 7 guys to the NFL. And I think that's where Miami really made their biggest mistake at, is to where they tried to get way too NFL heavy on guys. And that just is not the right idea. And you started recruiting guys that you thought were NFL talents, but they were really mental midgets. You know what I mean? They just didn't really get it, So it happens. It happens. But this season, do I think Miami has a chance to be back? Of course, because the ACC is not a good conference at all. It's a conference that really is on the downslide in football and in basketball. So this season would be really good for the conference if you're able to have a meaningful Miami-Florida State game. And I say that with a lot of excitement that we possibly have the opportunity of that happening, because it looks like Florida State's going to be a top 5 team this year for most of the season. And it looks like the Canes could possibly be in the top 15, top 20 for most of the season. And if they're able to meet up and have some pretty good records and both be ranked, that will be a game that will probably be a primetime game. Let's keep it real, because Florida State and Miami is one of the 5 best rivalries in all of college football. So why not? And they actually paired together in the same conference to ensure that they would play each other. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So we'll see how it goes, but I like Miami's chances. Next month, we'll be rolling out my over-under wins list for all the conferences. So we'll have an idea exactly where I'm going with that. So let's go ahead, move on to our next topic, and that's going to be this. It's going to be the Yanks pitcher. No, not yet. Bengals are an elite team to most critics. Will this affect them in the upcoming season? I say this because once they start loving you, that's when everything starts falling apart. And that's when everybody starts saying, I need my money and I need my money now. And he has 3 top flight receivers over there, and Boyd, Higgins, and Chase. And boy, I'm telling you, those guys are some tremendous players, man. And they are some guys that can really, really change the game with the way that they've went about it. And Joe Burrow has been very blessed to have those 3 guys, then have a pretty good tight end, and then he's had a pretty good running game behind him as well, too, with Samaje Perine and with Joe Mixon, 2 guys that were from the University of Oklahoma and did nothing but winning there. But now Perine is gone. That's pretty huge in a sense, because Perine was their guy that was the tough running back, the guy that got the tough yards, the guy that actually sat there and blocked for Joe Burrow as well too. So you have a lot of things that are working out in the right direction for them. But the biggest thing that they did for themselves moving forward to say that, you know what, we're tired of messing around and worrying about, building this team up and possibly getting to the Super Bowl. No, we're trying to get back to the Super Bowl, and we're trying to win the Super Bowl. They did that by adding in Orlando Brown Jr. Orlando Brown Jr. was one of the top offensive linemen for the Kansas City Chiefs. He has 2 titles already in the NFL as well too. And you know what? He was a guy that was considered a high dollar target for most teams in the free agency period. So he became the number 1 priority for the Cincinnati Bengals once the offseason started, because they need to protect their future $300 million quarterback in Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to be a big money quarterback very soon in the league. And, the extension is on the way. We all know that. The extension is very near. And you need to make sure that it's going to be worth it, because you can't just give this guy a bunch of money and feel like this is going to be your future. Everybody has to learn that lesson from Andrew Luck. And we know that, okay, we're going into what is season 4 now. So the extension will be in place by next offseason. So he has to keep impressing and has to make sure that he stays upright, because Joe Burrow has already torn his PCL, his MCL, and his ACL all in one game. So this is going to be very, 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 very interesting to see exactly the approach the Bengals take as we move towards his extension and him getting a big contract. So a lot of things are very, very, very thrown up against the wall when it's the Bengals, and you say to yourself, anything's possible with this team. This team being, 9-1, 10-1 to win the Super Bowl? Great odds, in my opinion. Great odds. Beautiful odds, to be honest with you. And, where they sit at to win their division this year, you get value in that as well, too, because that's the toughest division in football. Me and Jeff told you that last week. So there's a lot of things that the Bengals will be very good at this season. And there's a lot of things that the Bengals are going to have to work on this season as well, too. But I truly do feel that the Bengals are on the cusp of possibly having their greatest season ever or their greatest letdown ever. But one thing I do know is this team is all in on winning football games. They did exactly what you do when you really want to win in this league, and you go get the guys, the meat and potato guys. And when I say meat and potato guys, the guys that are in the trenches, because the guys that are in the trenches are the guys that deliver you to the Lombardi. And you can go ahead and ask Kansas City and Philadelphia that as well too. Those teams have built those parts of their team up very delicately and very smart. And that's why they're in the positions that they're in right now. So, with that, let's go ahead and talk about some history that was made last night. And Yanks pitcher Domingo German throws the 24th perfect game of all time. And he's the 4th Yankee to do so. That's absolutely incredible, to be honest with you. And the funny part about the Yankees is this. They had David Wells do it in 98, and then they had David Cone do it in 1999. So they had back-to-back years. And Don Larson did it in a World Series game. So this was huge, because what happened here is that Domingo German did it against the 19 and 55, the 20 and 55 A's. And the A's probably had, and the craziest part about it is the A's have hosted 2 perfect games with their own pitchers. And what happened, this was the largest attended game for a perfect game in Oakland. So it was crazy that they did that last night. But the Yankees got a great win last night. They won the game 11-0, and it was it's just a beautiful thing that they get to do this as they're struggling. You know what I mean? Like, they were struggling pretty mightily as well too, and now they're back at it. They're back good, and it's just a very good thing to see. You know what I mean? And I totally feel like what you can do here is say to yourself that the Yankees could be in the middle of making a big run. Because when moments like this happen, that's when it's time to really cut it on the right way. And I feel like the Yankees are a team that can easily do that. And, I know everybody's like, well, they got to catch the Rays. The Rays are 9.5 games up right now. The Rays, to me, very good team, but eventually they can get caught. Because what happens is that they got off to such a great start that now they're starting to kind of run into a little bit of the, they're starting to run into a little bit of the itis in my winning itis. You know what I mean? Where you get so used to winning that you think that every day you go out there, the same thing is going to work. And they are starting to get a little caught. You know what I mean? They're starting to get a little exposed. They had a really good month. But let's keep it real. Since June 17th, they haven't been that great of a team. They've went 4-6 since that point. And right now they're up 1-0 against the Diamondbacks. So, there's just some things that you say to yourself, the Yankees can possibly catch this team. But the Yankees are in prime position to be in the playoffs. They play in the toughest division in baseball. And their best player is not available. He's out with the toe injury. So the Yankees don't want to make this the last highlight of the season, in my opinion. I think the Yankees will be kickstarted by a performance like this from a guy who was really struggling mightily. And now he finds himself 24th pitcher in history to go 27 up, 27 down. The greatest 4 words you can hear in sports, 5 words. And boy, he's on cloud 9. So I would say the rest of the roster should be on cloud 9, right? So I would say this. I think that the Yankees are on their way to having a big July. Let's just go ahead and say that. All right. So if you're betting that fun wager that they keep betting called the where you play the winner, the team that wins the most games for the month, then you'll possibly want to take the Yankees this month, in my opinion. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, It's time to jump into the Dodgers and talk some Blue Crew Daily. And then we got some MLB games to get into as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. No Belmont today. So I'm off of the horses for 2 days, and it's crazy because I've been pretty much Tuesday through Sunday, right? And it seems like I played Prescott on Monday and Tuesday, and then they were off yesterday because the air quality. And then today I looked up and I was like, oh yeah, I should have Belmont this morning. I didn't see Belmont. And so I kept like, why don't I have Belmont today? So then I go to NYRA and it says right there, we ain't racing the next 2 Thursdays, but pretty much that's because we go have Monday and Tuesday races. So that is right there, some good stuff. So that means that we're doing an extended holiday weekend this weekend, even though the 4th is on a Tuesday. They're pretty much going to make it, you know how it goes. It turns into an extended weekend where Monday is pretty much the start of July 4th, and then we'll have July 4th on Tuesday, and then you're going to act like you're going to go back to work on Wednesday, but really you're not. You're going to take the week off, and then you'll be back. You know what I mean? Just like the MLB All-Stars. You know what I mean? Which means that when they take their break, this show is going to be off the air for a week. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to play myself and try to come up in here and talk about a bunch of nothing. So, it is what it is. But, we pretty much, because this is a sports betting show, but we only really have one sport to bet with at this moment, and that's baseball. Even though we got WNBA, come on, you guys know WNBA, that's more like, okay, we over here kind of scratching the surface a little bit. We trying, we over here trying to we over here chasing a little bit, But baseball, this is a daily grind, So pretty much let's go ahead and look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers last night, Dodgers looking to win the series tonight after losing 9-8 to the Rockies. Well, last night was a little rough because both the Diamondbacks and the Giants lost. Diamondbacks won last night from what I remember. Yeah, they won last night. And it would have been great if the Dodgers would have won last night. Why? Because the Dodgers could have been back in second place without worrying about not being in second place. Now they're still stuck in third place. They're a half a game out still, and they're still 3 games out from the Diamondbacks. So the Dodgers really are just kind of just staying in neutral right now, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't know how many times I got to keep telling you guys this. It's okay. You look at the Dodgers ERA, you look at the pitchers for the Dodgers. It's not as bad as you think. It's a new MLB, bro. You got a time clock for the first time ever. These pitchers are all getting jacked up a little bit this year. They're, but then they're having moments to where hitters are doing absolutely nothing. So everybody's kind of affected by the time clock a little bit, but it's a good thing. So we can stop the BSing at the plate, because a lot of times guys used to just strike out because they got too bored sitting up there waiting on a pitch, or a guy will give up a home run because he got too tired of seeing a guy go in and out of the box. So all in all, the Dodgers are going through the motions. I keep trying to tell y'all, this is a renovation. By the time the finished product is around, it won't be until the end of August. That's when you'll have the actual, factual, real Dodgers run team that's going to be a part of the playoffs. And I feel like the Dodgers have to do it this way to get it done the right way. You've been spoiled the last few years, Dodger fans. 110 here, 111 here, 105 there, 107 over there. 10 out of 11 years is the champion of the division. Absolutely spoiled. So you expect this team to be, death row, killer's row, best pitching in baseball, all of that good stuff. They still got all that stuff going. They still one of the best hitting teams in the league. They still one of the best pitching teams in the league. The thing is, though, they not winning 13 games in a row every month. That's exactly what the Dodgers did to get 100 wins. Look at it. You start the season in late March, really in April. The season's over in August. That's a 5-month stretch. If you go on 10 here, 10 there, 10 here, 10 there, 10 here, 10 there, of course you're going to have a great season. But that's a season, that's a dream season. But that dream season ended in a nightmare because you lost to the team that you beat 15 out of 20 times. So the Dodgers needed that wake-up call to let them know when you get to the playoffs, it's a second season. And if you didn't go through the fire and you didn't go through anything really tough throughout the season, this playoff thing might not be for you. But with the Dodgers battle tested, the Dodgers figuring things out, and really not having the world praising them is going to be the best thing that ever happened to them. Tonight, when we get to the game, though, this is how I feel. I feel like the Dodgers, as usual, the Rockies always got to get their win against the Dodgers in Denver. It's going to happen. We already know that's going to happen. This is one of the toughest places for the Dodgers to sweep. But the Dodgers should have won that game last night. They had 6 runs in the 5th inning, and that pitching crew should have took over. But they're a little tired. Let's keep it real. So when I look at tonight's game, we got the rookie Emmett Sheehan on the mound. You got Chase Anderson on the mound. I think what happens here tonight is it's going to be a really good game. But what happens here is the Dodgers wind up getting themselves a good win. I know that Chase Anderson is more of the vet here, but Chase Anderson has been absolutely awful in his last 5, okay? Including giving up 9 runs in his last game, 7 runs before that. So he's given up 16 runs over his last 2 games. He's only struck out 3 guys, and he's walked 6, and he's given up 17 hits. So just take that and tell yourself exactly how to feel about this game when you got a guy in Emmett Sheehan who's only given up 2 runs ever in his career. And that was back-to-back homers. But that was against the Houston Astros. And that game was on national television as well, too. This game is different. This is a very important game, and I think that they're going to really take their time with him today and make sure that he pitches a very thorough game. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on Blue Crew Daily. Game time starting at 5:40 Pacific time, 6:40 Mountain. So pretty much get ready for a great game tonight as the Dodgers try to get their another series from a division rival. And if the Dodgers do win this game tonight, they win. It makes them 6 out of their last 8, and that's going to be good as we move towards the weekend and we get ourselves prepared for the Dodgers' next game, which is going to be against the. Actually, the Dodgers luck up a little bit. They get to fly to Kansas City tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. So with that, let's go ahead and move forward to my MLB Thursday night. MLB Thursday night. And up first. And you know what? It was a great night last night. It's a good night, right? It's a good day right now, too. But Giants and Jays are my first of the group, but let me go ahead and get you guys the scores of what's going on right now. Heartbreaker for me, Padres Pirates. It was 4-1 throughout the game, most of the damn game. And then guess what they do? They go ahead and get 4 unanswered runs. And I'm sitting here with my under 8.5 premium bet for my clients, still sitting on the desk. Should be cashed out, but it's not going to be cashed out. Now, the Tigers and the Rangers are in the 7th inning. I have the Tigers on a client dog bet today, plus 140. Hopefully, we can get that bad boy home. Then you got the Guardians up 2-0. The now first place Guardians as well, too, because that sweep was huge for the Guardians. The Twins got swept this week, so the Guardians being able to beat the Royals yesterday have themselves a half game ahead and possibly will put themselves a game ahead if they can hold on to this lead. Then you have the Yankees and the A's, one up, bottom of the second, and then Rays, Diamondbacks, 1-0 over in the desert. So let's go ahead and talk about the Giants and the Blue Jays. They are split. We're looking for who's the winner is going to be tonight. And okay, and the Lakers have confirmed that Mo Bamba is not going to be a part of their plans. They have wound up, they're actually waiving Mo Bamba. So they're not going to, they declined to guarantee the $10.3 million contract that he had. So he was not going to be, he's no longer a part of the Lakers. Not on this deal. But, you know, it was fun while we had you, Mo Bamba. All right, so Giants, 45-35. Blue Jays, 44-37. Good matchup tonight because you got Bassett on the mound, but Bassett's been struggling mightily, really bad, to be honest with you. And you got Keaton Winn. Keaton Winn has been pretty good. Last game out, he kind of got popped up a little bit, but, you know, this guy is more of a spot starter, so you don't see much of him. But he's somebody that's new to the lineup. You know, he was drafted 5 years ago. He's a guy that they're hoping that they can get some good things out of. They got him out of Iowa Western Community College as well, too. So that should be fun. That should be a lot of stories behind that. But Chris Bassett is struggling. He gave 4 runs last time out, which was better than his previous 2 outings, but this was to Oakland, and Oakland actually won that game. I know because they were my dog of the day, and that was the reason why they were my dog of the day, because they had a pitcher who was struggling in Chris Bassett, and he's still struggling. So Chris Bassett did 5 innings against Oakland. Tonight he's going to go against their Bay Area counterpart. And what I'm going to do here tonight is, I know Dodger fans are probably going to be like, Pop, I don't know if you love us anymore. I don't know if you really like the Dodgers anymore. Y'all know how I am, man. You can't play favorites when it comes to the money, dog, at the end of the day. I love the Dodgers, man. And they're the squad. Just like I love the Lakers. They're the squad. But at the end of the day, though, you know me. I'm a sports bettor. You know what I mean? I'm a handicapper. You can't show loyalty. You just can't. You can't be loyal to just this team because you got history with this team. You have to be able to catch the angles and do everything You make the tough decisions. You know what I mean? And tonight I'm gonna make a tough decision. I'm gonna take the Giants to win this game with the plus 125. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Because I just think Bassett is a guy that's a trade entity for them. And I think that pretty much he's ran his course with the Blue Jays. Now, if you're the Dodgers, you might want to go ahead and maybe take a flyer on Chris Bassett because he's the type of pitcher that's perfect for a Mark Prior makeover. You know what I mean? So pretty much with that, let's move ahead and talk about our next game, and that's going to be the Brewers and the Mets. And I know I've already highlighted this game. We hit the dog better today with the Brewers, all that good stuff. You know, I was feeling good, feeling great. I know y'all was feeling good, feeling great. But today we got a new game. That's what it is. And you know, we have ourselves some pretty good a pretty good matchup here. Hauser's back on the mound for the Brewers, and then you have Max Scherzer, good old Max, back on the mound for the Mets. Now, Hauser pitched only one inning last game. He struck out one and gave up 2 hits. But he had to leave the game because he had some little issues. But it's okay because he pitched very well prior to that as well, too. He went 4 innings and gave up 2 runs. So if you have him in there for a sample size, it's pretty good. In his last 5 starts, though, you know, he had a start where he gave up 7 runs, and then he had a start where he gave up 5 runs. So, you know, it's kind of a helter-skelter situation, but he's pitched fairly well for a guy who didn't pitch for the last who didn't pitch much to start the season. You know what I mean? In his 9 appearances, he's only had 2 bad games in reality. So pretty much you look at his ERA and you say, you know, this is not too bad. But then you look at Max Scherzer, and you know Max Scherzer is Max Scherzer, Cy Young Award winner multiple times, World Series winner, all that good stuff. And pretty much he's sitting up in here, and he had a really good game against Philadelphia last time out. He struck out 8, gave up 2 runs. Before that, struck out 8, gave up a run. This was against Houston. So he's done this in 8 innings and in 6 innings. So Max is starting to kind of get into the groove, but the Mets are playing bad baseball right now, and he's a heavy burden on the books. So he might be over here performing a little bit for the next team, but we'll see. I know he wouldn't be going back to the Dodgers. I know that for sure. But I know one place that could get him, and they might need to go ahead and really go ahead and look at that flyer. And they're in the state of Texas. That's possibly the Astros. Think about that. Because the Astros, you just have Verlander. Why don't you bring in Max Scherzer to help out that dugout and that bullpen a little bit? Or, you know what? The Rangers can get really smart and say, you know what? Let's go ahead and take them since we're missing DeGrom. We're going to need this type of pitcher in the clubhouse when we get to that portion of the season. And I think that's what you look at. Right now, the Mets have to put themselves in position to get as many assets as possible for these pitchers that they overspend on, in my opinion. So it is what it is at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because they were trying to rekindle Thor and DeGrom, and you went ahead and you got 2 guys that are in their 40s and literally are pretty much getting ready for the Hall of Fame. So what they needed to do was they need to steal a little bit of money here at the end so they can make sure that they can maintain lifestyle. So it is what it is. All right. So, and also good news, the Tigers have just went up 4-3. So we got that, and hopefully we can finish that one up because it's only in the 7th inning, but we got the bases loaded with no outs. So we're in good shape there. All right, so pretty much with that, what we're going to do here in the Brewers and Mets game tonight is the night. We're going to do this. We're going to do the under 8.5 here. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But Brewers Mets, this should be another really good matchup tonight. And winner takes series. That's what it's all about tonight. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about an oldie but goodie, and that's going to be the Astros and the Cardinals. I say it's an oldie but goodie because this used to be a really fun NL Central matchup. And then it became a pretty fun, matchup just in general. These teams have a lot of history when it comes to each other because they absolutely hate each other. Let's just keep it real, because these teams have really sat up here and had their issues with each other. I say this because the St. Louis Cardinals literally had to forfeit draft picks. They had to give up money, all types of stuff. All types of stuff. So pretty much what happens with that is this. And I'm sorry, somebody just knocked. So what happens with that? Okay. So with that, you have a lot of different things that you have to look into. And I feel like the Cardinals are at a point right now where they're really trying to salvage the season. They're not trying to give up anybody because they have a lot of assets and they could make a lot of moves if they're thinking about the future right now. But the Cardinals are not set up like that. They're set up to be in the playoffs. And I truly do feel this will possibly be the best team when we get to the second half of the season. What they need is some bullpen help at this point, and right now 33-46, last place in a very winnable division. That's the whole thing. When you look at it, they're playing musical chairs somewhat in the AL Central, in the NL Central. Okay, the Brewers have been right there at the cusp of first place all season. But they had to deal with the Pirates having a great April, and they've had to deal with right now with the Reds having a great June. So they're stuck in the middle. They've been playing great baseball all year, but they run into a little bit of a point to where they get a little complacent, and these teams haul off and win 12 games in a row. What can you do about it? But can they stay consistent? That's the whole thing. The Brewers consistently are winning 2 or 3 in a row, then they'll lose 3. Or they'll win 2 or 3 in a row, then lose 1. That's what they're doing. These other teams, it's either you're either trending upwards or you're trending downwards. It's no even kill. But I will say this, Cincinnati is actually not fool's gold like the Pirates were. The only reason why the Pirates scaled it back was because they lost O'Neal Cruz, and they started losing some pretty vital pitchers as well, too. And they pretty much showed us that we're not ready now, but we'll be ready soon. The Reds have a lot of assets. They have a lot of ammo sitting on the farm, but they're not the best farm system in baseball. They just were able to draft a lot of they just have had high picks. That necessarily doesn't mean that these are the top guys, but they did have the top prospect in Delhi. So now Delhi has came in and he's made his impact, but they just haven't figured him out yet. Once they figure him out, it's going to be a little different. So with this game tonight, with the Astros and the Cardinals, this game is very important for both of these teams. But I would say the game is a little bit more important for the Cardinals because they got decisions to make. And they're going to have to give up some real critical pieces if they really feel like they can make a run towards the NL Central title. If they know that they can't do that, what they're going to do is, I promise you this, what they're going to do is they'll probably get rid of a few guys. You know what I mean? So then they can bring in some farm guys, some more guys to develop. So we'll see how it goes. But with this game tonight, I like the Cardinals to keep it close with the +1.5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. All right. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we will go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. It is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horse games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Talking tickets, baby. Talking tickets. All right, here it is. Here it is. Talking tickets. All right, so pretty much we don't have a lot because, it's a travel day, but we still had 12 games in the MLB, but a lot of them are already getting played right now. I think 6 of them were getting played this morning and 6 are getting played in the afternoon. So pretty much, or in the evening, as I should say. You know what I mean? Because I'm on West Coast time, so I'm 3 hours behind the East Coast. So pretty much, to me, it's the afternoon, evening going into the night, but for you guys, it's already night game. So let's go ahead and talk about the WNBA first, because all the WNBA starts at 7 o'clock tonight. And it's funny because they got WNBA on 7 p.m. Pacific time, so they made sure that all this yammering and talking about we need to support the league. They put all 3 of the games on at 10 o'clock. How you going to support the league? And people talking about they got to go to bed at 10, because I ain't never seen this many people grouchy about having to go to bed. Literally, I'll be looking at a game on Twitter and people like, why does the game have to start so late? Like, have you ever read a newspaper in the morning? Have you ever just said, okay, I'm not going to be able to catch the game, so I'll just read the box score in the morning? That's what usually most human beings used to do 30 years ago, because we wasn't going to be able to watch every game, because we didn't have every game at our fingertips like we do today. Y'all just so spoiled, man. I'm telling you, they got to start these games when they can start these games. And West Coast games start late because they know that they're only going to get majority of West Coast fans to watch it. So you need to put it on at a time that they can all watch it. Don't that make sense? All right, so talking tickets, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into our first group. WNBA 11-1 tonight. I like the under 162 with the Fever and the Mercury tonight. I also like the 2.5 on the Storm tonight. And then we have the Liberty money line plus 240. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be our ticket for the WNBA tonight. And then in our primetime pick 4, the late pick 4. And guess what? We hit the pick 4 last night as well, too, at 14-1. So just know, when I put these plays out, you guys need to write them down on your phones, on your notepad, whatever you want to do, because you don't want to miss the winners. All right. So pretty much what are we doing with this? We're taking the Giants as our dog bet of the day, plus 135. I know everybody's like, I'm glad he got out the A's, Nats, Royals, Rockies, and the Reds, you know what I mean? And the Pirates, the Super Six. You know what I mean? So pretty much I got the Giants today plus 135. We got the under 8.5 with the Brewers and the Mets today. Then we got the Cardinals, like I spoke on previously, with the minus 145 and the plus 1.5. And then we finish up with the over 10 with the Phillies and the Cubs. So that's our ticket right there, 14-1. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be talking tickets for today. All right, so I'll be back tomorrow. I know I didn't do Jeff's show this morning. They had a little bit of a weather issue over there in the COD. So I'll confirm tomorrow morning if he's officially going to be on, because if his internet's not on where they're at the office studio that he does all of his shows at, then he can't do the show with me. So pretty much, hopefully we're shooting for noon tomorrow. with Jeff on. If Jeff's not on, you'll still have me. We'll be talking about big baby Jared Anderson and his homecoming against my good friend Charles Martin, my old good buddy. Him, my man Tillman, all those guys, Henry Tillman. So pretty much, but I'm not playing favorites there, and I'm gonna break it down for you guys on why that's gonna be one of the better fights for the heavyweight division this year. Also, gonna be talking some NFL. If Jeff's here, talking some AFC South and what to expect from the AFC South, and talking some more NBA and everything like that as well too, and of course talking a whole bunch of baseball. So with that, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are the absolute best, and as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.